No Bones About It is pretty great, and I have to say, being a big fan of museums, there was always going to be something about this Rugrats episode that I liked, but I really enjoyed it. This is the first segment of the ninth episode of the second season, and Grandpa is taking Chuckie, Tommy, Phil, and Lil to a museum. And Spike wants to go too, but of course he can't, and Tommy gets a little bit upset about this. So they decide to bring back Spike a gift. And as soon as they arrive in the entrance, there is a dinosaur model, or the skeleton of a dinosaur, and they decide that they're going to get him a bone. And Grandpa needs a rest straight away because the babies are heavy. And when he's sitting down talking to two older women, the babies think that this is the great time to go off and try and find those bones. And what interested me at this point was that Grandpa very quickly realised the babies had gone away. Usually with Rugrats, it takes almost the whole episode for the adult, usually Grandpa, to realise that they're missing. So I was quite surprised by that, but it worked very well because as he ran off, he bumped into the security guard, and this security guard was hot on his tail all of the way around, getting in his way of finding the babies, which bought them the time that they needed. But on the way to the bones, they interact with different exhibits, and I love it. I love museums. Museums in animation, even better. Well, maybe not quite as good, but still brilliant. And there are various things that they interact with. The masks I thought were pretty great, both in terms of how they looked and how that part played out. The jungle with the, and I quote, aminals, absolutely adorable pronunciation from Tommy, was a nice little exhibit. Calling a taxidermy lion a teddy bear was a little uncomfortable. I'm not a fan of taxidermy. I don't mind it if they're behind glass in a museum, but I definitely wouldn't be able to touch a taxidermy animal. So to think of it as a cuddly teddy bear, not great. But in terms of the episode, very, very good and really entertaining, and I liked how that bit unfolded. The whole thing was great. And then ultimately what happened with them getting a bone and, whether they could get one, how that played out, I thought it was brilliant and I hadn't expected it. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. It's a very well written, well structured episode, definitely well animated, and one that I hadn't predicted. Often with Rugrats, being 31 years old, I can kind of predict some things that are going to happen because it's often very straightforward and, not full of too many surprises. But every now and then there'll be an episode like this where I think I know what's going to happen and it just takes me by surprise. And I really like it. Definitely an episode when I found out it was about museums that I knew I'd like at least in some part. But I have to say, no bones about it. From start to finish is pretty great.